It was a normal flight, just like any other, a regular night. March 8th, 2014. The airport was bustling with activity, yet everything seemed routine. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, a Boeing 777, got ready to leave Kuala Lumpur. The plane was meticulously checked and the crew was prepared for the journey ahead. It was going to Beijing, China, a journey that should have been straightforward and uneventful. 227 passengers and 12 crew members were on board. Each person had their own destination, their own reasons for being on that flight. People from all over the world, each with their own stories, their own plans. Some were traveling for business, others for leisure, and some were returning home. At 12:41 a.m., the plane took off into the night sky. The passengers settled in, some reading, some sleeping, unaware of the fate that awaited them. A normal sight, a usual sound, the hum of the engines, the gentle turbulence, then silence. An eerie, unsettling silence. At 1:19 a.m. the last message came from the cockpit. The pilots communicated with air traffic control. Everything seemed fine. Good night, Malaysian 370, a routine sign-off, nothing out of the ordinary. A normal goodbye, scary now that we know what happened. The calm before the storm, no mayday calls, no sign of trouble, just an abrupt end to communication. The transponder, which tells us where the plane is, stopped working. MH370 disappeared from radar. It was as if the plane had vanished into thin air. Air traffic control was confused, then worried, then really scared. Something was very wrong. They tried to re-establish contact, but there was no response. The world watched and waited. News of the missing flight spread quickly, and everyone hoped for a miracle. Everyone hoped it was just a broken part, a safe landing somewhere. Families clung to hope, praying for the safety of their loved ones. But as days turned into weeks, the mystery got bigger. The lack of information was agonizing. No emergency signal, no wreckage. Search teams scoured the ocean but found nothing, just a big empty ocean. The vastness of the sea seemed to swallow all hope. MH370 disappearing became one of the biggest plane mysteries ever. The world was left with questions, theories, and a haunting silence. At first, everyone searched the South China Sea. This was the initial area of focus because it was the last known location of the plane before it vanished from civilian radar screens. The search teams, consisting of various international forces, scoured the waters tirelessly, hoping to find any trace of the missing aircraft. That's where the plane was last seen. The radar blips indicated its presence, but then it disappeared without a trace, leaving everyone puzzled and concerned. But military radar showed something surprising. MH370 had gone off course. Instead of continuing on its planned route, the plane made an unexpected turn, baffling experts and investigators alike. It turned west over the Malay Peninsula. This deviation was significant and raised many questions about what might have caused such a drastic change in direction. Then it turned south, flying for hours over the Indian Ocean. This long southward journey suggested that the plane was on autopilot, continuing its flight until it could no longer sustain itself. Now, the search area was much bigger. The vast expanse of the Indian Ocean presented a daunting challenge for search teams who had to cover an enormous area with limited resources. And there were more questions. Why did MH370 change direction? Theories ranged from mechanical failure to deliberate action, but no definitive answers were found. Was it on purpose, or did something bad happen? The uncertainty weighed heavily on the families of the passengers, who were desperate for any information about their loved ones. Investigators looked at the plane's automatic messages. These signals, known as pings, were sent periodically to a satellite, providing crucial data about the plane's location and status. These messages went to a satellite, giving clues about where the plane went. By analyzing the timing and frequency of these pings, investigators could piece together the plane's final flight path. These messages showed MH370 flew south for hours. The data indicated a steady, controlled flight, which only deepened the mystery of what happened on board. It probably ran out of fuel and crashed somewhere in the faraway southern Indian Ocean. This conclusion was based on the plane's fuel capacity and the distance it traveled. This huge, dangerous part of the ocean became the new search area. The rough seas and remote location made the search efforts incredibly challenging and dangerous. It was so far away and nobody knew exactly where the plane crashed, so searching was really hard. The vastness of the ocean and the lack of precise coordinates meant that finding the wreckage was like looking for a needle in a haystack. It was a race against time, trying to find answers in a huge unknown ocean. The search teams worked tirelessly, knowing that every passing day made the task more difficult, but they remained determined to uncover the truth. The search for MH370 was the biggest ever. It cost more money and used more people than any other plane search. More than 26 countries helped, sending ships, planes, and special underwater robots. At first, everyone searched the surface of the ocean. Teams looked over thousands of square miles trying to find anything from the missing plane. As weeks turned into months, the search moved to the ocean floor. The deep water and strong currents of the southern Indian Ocean made it really tough. Special sonar equipment mapped the ocean bottom. Underwater robots searched for wreckage. The search showed how determined people were and how countries could work together. Everyone wanted answers, so they shared what they had and helped each other. Even with all the hard work, the search for MH370 was a race against time and the powerful ocean. Section 4. Clues from the sky, satellites and search zones. While ships and planes looked on the ocean, satellites gave important information from space. Satellite messages showed MH370 kept flying for hours after it stopped talking to air traffic control. These little messages between the plane and a satellite gave a little bit of hope. Experts used the satellite data to figure out where to search. These areas, thousands of miles from where the plane was last seen, were the most likely places where MH370 might have crashed. The satellite information was important, but it only gave a general idea of where the plane went. The search areas were huge, and the southern Indian Ocean was a difficult place to search, so it was a very hard job. Search teams faced strong winds, big waves, and water that was miles deep. Even so, the search went on, hoping to find where the plane crashed and learn what happened. Section 5. Pieces of the puzzle, the debris and its implications. Years after MH370 disappeared, pieces of the plane started washing up on shore. These pieces were scattered across various beaches, often discovered by locals or beachcombers who had no idea of the significance of their find. The discovery of these fragments reignited the world's interest in the mystery of MH370, bringing a mix of hope and sorrow to the families of the missing passengers. Debris was found on islands in the Indian Ocean, far away from where everyone thought it crashed. This unexpected discovery led to new theories about the plane's final flight path, suggesting it may have drifted for thousands of miles before finally coming to rest. The vast distances involved made the search even more challenging, highlighting the immense scale of the ocean and the difficulty of finding a needle in such a massive haystack. The wreckage, confirmed to be from MH370, showed that something terrible had happened. The condition of the debris indicated a violent end, with parts of the plane showing signs of extreme stress and damage. This evidence was crucial in piecing together the final moments of the flight, providing investigators with valuable clues about what might have gone wrong. Some of the things found were a wing part called a flaperon, which is a critical component of the plane's control surfaces. The discovery of the flaperon was particularly significant because it was one of the first pieces of debris to be positively identified as coming from MH370. This find provided a tangible link to the missing aircraft, confirming that it had indeed ended up in the Indian Ocean. A piece of the inside of the plane, which included parts of the cabin and other interior components. These fragments offered a glimpse into the final moments inside the aircraft, raising questions about what the passengers and crew might have experienced during the flight's last moments, and parts of where the cargo is kept. The cargo hold debris suggested that the plane had broken apart upon impact, scattering its contents across a wide area. This evidence was crucial in understanding the dynamics of the crash and the forces involved. Each piece was carefully examined, looking for clues about the plane's last moments. Forensic analysis of the debris provided insights into the sequence of events leading up to the crash, helping investigators to build a timeline of the flight's final moments. This painstaking work was essential in piecing together the puzzle of MH370's disappearance. The condition of the debris suggested that the plane hit the water very fast, maybe diving straight down. This theory was supported by the lack of large floating debris, indicating that the plane had likely broken apart upon impact. The high-speed impact would have caused catastrophic damage, leaving little chance for survival. Finding the debris was very sad, but it gave a little hope to the families of the people on the plane. It provided them with some closure, knowing that their loved one's final resting place had been found. Memorials were held on the beaches where the debris was discovered, allowing families to pay their respects and find some solace in the midst of their grief. It showed what happened to the plane and gave them a place to remember their loved ones. These memorials became a focal point for the families, a place where they could come together to share their memories and support each other. The discovery of the debris, while heartbreaking, also provided a sense of connection to the lost passengers and crew, but it also brought up new questions. The discovery of the debris opened up new lines of inquiry, prompting investigators to re-examine their theories and consider new possibilities. Each new piece of evidence added to the complexity of the case, making it clear that there was still much to learn about what had happened to MH370. Why did the plane break apart like that? This question became a central focus of the investigation as experts sought to understand the forces that had caused the plane to disintegrate. Was it a result of mechanical failure, or had something more sinister occurred? Did the pilot do it, or did something break? The possibility of human error or deliberate action was considered, as well as the potential for a catastrophic mechanical failure. Each scenario had different implications, and investigators worked tirelessly to determine the most likely cause. Finding the debris gave some answers, but it also made the mystery of MH370 even bigger. The more evidence that was uncovered, the more questions arose, making it clear that the full story of MH370's disappearance might never be known. The search for answers continues, driven by the hope that one day the mystery will be solved. Subscribe and follow for more videos.